Okay, so grow up into Christ. That's our school motto, obviously. And it's interesting because it's grow is a process that is an ongoing thing. You don't just grow and stop, especially when you're growing up into Christ. So my story is that of growing, I guess. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. My family still don't know Jesus yet, but hopefully one day they will. And we grew up as a typical family, in the suburbs of Sydney. Because of the generation they were from, they sent us to church when we were kids. And so we went to Sunday school and we heard all the stories and sang all the songs. And I just had this sense of God's presence. Like I've never had a time where I didn't believe God existed. I just had a sense that there was a God, even though my parents didn't necessarily believe it. I just had that sense of His presence. And when I went to this thing called Vacation Bible School, it was in the Christmas holidays. It was at a Baptist church, and the pastor there asked me if I wanted to make Jesus my personal saviour. I said, yeah, okay, that sounds all right. And it's one of those times in my life where I just remember just a weird, amazing moment, and that was when I prayed the prayer to accept Jesus. There was this just bright light in the room at the time. It was one of those old churches with stained glass windows and all that kind of stuff, and it was like a sunbeam just shone in through the window at that time, and that was really kind of weird, but it was sort of confirmation that God was going, yes, I want to be in relationship with you. So that was really amazing. But it was also, because I was a teenager at the time, there was lots of ups and downs through that period of my life, and I wasn't perfect. I wasn't a goody two-shoes or anything like that. And God worked despite that. And I guess one of the things that I've found in my life is that growth involves pain sometimes. When you grow physically, you get stretch marks, you get growing pains, you get jumpy legs and all that kind of stuff as your hormones kind of change your body. And that can be painful sometimes. And I found that growing as a Christian too. It hasn't always been smooth sailing. That moment when I said, I want Jesus to be my saviour, that wasn't, everything bad in my life didn't stop at that moment. Everything just continued on as it normally does in your life. And but it was through the times that were hard, that have been hard, that still are hard, that I guess I grow more, which is kind of annoying, really, because going through those times is very painful, and you struggle. One of the hardest times that I've gone through recently is 5 years ago, my best friend passed away suddenly, and she was my housemate also. And I'd never had anyone close to me die before. She was a Christian, but she'd been through a lot of struggles in her life. And it just hit me like a truck. And I can't describe how painful it was and how difficult it was to deal with. I'm not going to say that, it was all fantastic and, lovely things came out of that, because that's not true. But I just, again, through that time, I had a sense of God being there, saying that that she's okay and that I will be okay. I know a lot of you guys don't appreciate being at a Christian school and but being in this kind of community, this kind of atmosphere, but for me it's been a place of healing. And I've met people here that have really sown into my life, like Mrs. Blanche, Mr. Warren, Mrs. Batt. Lots and lots of people on the staff have really helped me to grow as a Christian, to grow up into Christ, and to become a better teacher and a better person. And so when I look back at my life, it's not, when I'm going through hard times, I can't see it then. sometimes I'm aware of God, but mostly I'm just feeling sorry for myself and, trying to survive. But it's when I look back and I can see God's hand is so there. He's so in it. He takes me to the places where he wants to go, even though sometimes I don't want to go there. And he puts me in the places that I need to be in. And those struggles, those times of pain, are the times when I've grown the most, because I come out the other end. I look at what's happened and what God's done, and I go, wow, that I could not have done that. That was totally God. And so I guess I consider, I'm still growing up into Christ. I'm still growing because I haven't stopped growing. I'm still learning every day how to be a person that loves God and loves others. And that's kind of my mission statement in life is to love God and love others. And when I look at the cross of Christ, where you've got the beam that goes down into the ground and then the beam that goes across, that beam that goes down into the ground that gives you that foundation, that represents God for me. And the beam that goes across, that's Jesus stretching out his hands to love people. And so that's, I guess, what I want to do in my life as well.